Hi, my name is Pavlos Inglesis. I'm a chartered civil engineer and a chartered quality professional in the UK, and this is a Quality Toolbox Talk for an introduction to quality management in the construction industry. The topics that we will cover in this presentation are the following. We will first take a look on what the definition of quality is. We will then discuss the basics of modern quality management systems. We will look into how quality management is actually applied in construction projects and construction companies today. We will see the value that a modern quality management system can provide to a construction business and a project. And finally, we will see what happens when things go wrong during construction and what needs to be done to avoid similar situations in the future. First, what is quality? Quality is a word that many people in the past tried to define. It is really not a coincidence that we even use it on our daily lives every day. We feel it when it is present, but we also feel it when it's absent. From Aristotle to modern corporate consultants and gurus, quality and its interpretations has been the subject of many debates throughout the history. For example, if you were asked which one of these two cars is of higher quality, the answer might not be that simple. Because it depends. It depends on the requirements. If the requirement is to build a cheap but durable car, then the car on the right does not meet the criteria. If the requirement is to build a fast and luxurious car, then the car on the left also does not meet the criteria. So it really depends on what the criteria and the requirements are. The Merriam-Webster dictionary has 8 different definitions for quality, but for the purposes of this presentation, we will stick to definition number 2, the degree of excellence. However, the International Standards Organization, ISO, through its ISO 9001 standard, has provided an even better definition in the last decades. Quality is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfills some requirements. So, at the end of the day, the important question should be, what are these requirements? And more importantly, what are the requirements in construction? We really need to understand what the requirements are in the construction industry, where do they come from, and how we will make sure we meet them. The requirements in the construction industry are set mainly by the clients. They will specify what they need to be constructed, when and how. However, our clients are not the only source of requirements in the construction industry. The main contract is obviously the key document that specifies what the requirements coming from the client are, but if we dig more into the details, we have even more sources. Ultimately, the design drawings is a key source of requirements as they basically specify what needs to be built and how. But there are also other documents that are equally important, such as regulations and standards, specifications, the method statements and the risk assessments, the inspection and test plans, or ITPs, any internal business corporate processes that may exist for a specific company, or even specific client instructions that may sit on top of the main contract. These may have been instructed through RFIs or other documentation. There are a lot of misconceptions in regards to what quality management in construction is, so it's good to clear out this first. Quality management in construction is not just the paperwork and the handover documentation. Yes, record keeping is one of the key processes that must exist in a construction project of any scale to be used as evidence of what has been built, complying with the requirements, but it's not only that. The quality processes are also only part of the quality management system, and setting them up in the early days of a construction project is extremely important. But what is also important is the way we implement and refine those processes as we progress. Finally, quality should never be a problem of just one person in a construction project, but it should be embedded into the culture of an organization and the people working on a construction project. When there is a company and a project that has a dedicated person looking after its quality management system, it goes without saying that there is more effort and dedication from the senior leadership too. Overall, quality is teamwork, and it is not an isolated task that projects must do on top of other things. Now, let's see some shocking statistics about quality management in the construction industry. One of the most recent studies on costs that are directly or indirectly related to errors in the construction industry, and more particularly in the UK, was carried out in 2016 by the Get It Right initiative. This study showed that the direct costs of unavoidable errors are in the order of 5% of the project value. This is higher than the average profit levels across the industry and equates to approximately 5 billion British pounds per year across the sector in the UK only. This is a massive number that cannot be put under the rug. Even worse, when unrecorded process waste, latent defects and other indirect costs are included, that number jumps up to 10 and up to 25% of overall project costs. We are talking about 10 to 25 billion pounds per year across the sector only in the UK. The study also showed an analysis in regards to the activities that generate the most losses through those errors, and it is no surprise that concrete works are on top, as this is usually the most costly and time-consuming activity in a construction project. Errors in mechanical and electrical installations are also there on top, along with cladding, finishes, roofing and waterproofing. Moreover, the most root causes of these errors were analysed and ranked. In inadequate planning, late design changes, poor communication, poor quality culture, and, in my opinion the worst of all, excessive commercial, money and time pressures sit on top of this list. For those working in the construction industry, there is no surprise to this list, but this exceptional study put some figures into what everyone already knows. Now, let's see the basics of quality management, as this is by far the best tool to reduce those errors in a construction project. Quality management is basically the system and the resources we put in place in order to achieve a required result. In construction, the required result is to basically have a happy client and build exactly what they wanted on time and in budget. Construction industry is one of the very few industries that the client has direct input for the product, which is actually a great thing because the requirements are drawn from day one. So, the quality management system is the set of interrelated processes that helps an organization, a company, or even a construction project to achieve its goals. Everything that happens in a project or a company is a process that must be documented, reviewed, and refined on a regular basis. The key concept of quality management is the PDCA cycle, or the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. In fact, everything we do in life is governed by the PDCA cycle in a way or another. We plan to do something, we actually do it, we then check if it's okay, and at the end, we change, correct, or fix things that don't work or that don't satisfy us. This is a very simple but extremely important concept for any quality management system. Let's take a real-life example of a wedding. First, the wedding is planned. Then, the wedding is carried out. You then check if everything goes as it should, and at the end, you take some actions to correct things, or maybe not. But the important thing here is that this is a continuous cycle that never stops. So, how all these things are actually implemented in a construction project? Everything we do in construction is governed by the PDCA cycle, but not that many people realize it. All the schedule planning, the design, the contracts, our internal processes, the risk assessments, the method statements, and even the inspection and test plans are all part of the plan step of the cycle. We literally plan how to build the project by satisfying all requirements. This is the quality assurance part. we then procure and actually build it. But we need to keep on checking if it's been built right. So we carry out inspections on or off-site, we carry out audits, surveillances, we do the testing and commissioning at the end to make sure everything works as it should. If not, we then need to take actions to repair things, to fix errors, or even change our initial designs and materials choices. The check and act steps are literally the quality control part. So, quality assurance is everything we put in place before the actual construction of a project to make sure it will meet the requirements. And quality control is everything we do during or after construction to make sure that the project has met the requirements and it will keep on meeting them consistently. So, in practical terms, quality management in construction is implemented in the following steps. We set up the quality management system so that it meets contractual requirements, quality processes, policies, and procedures. Then, we must train the people who will be working on the project on these processes and policies that they must follow on or off-site. This step is extremely important as you may end up with perfect processes and documentation that nobody is actually following because they don't even know they exist. You then check that the agreed processes are followed with random inspections, audits, and even documentation and records reviews. In case a non-conformance appears, you should use tools such as the non-conformance reports or NCRs to record that occurrence and make sure it won't happen again by eliminating the root cause and basically apply corrective actions. Finally, repeat from step 2 and also analyze any trends and even long-term issues that may occur in a construction site. So, overall, how does quality management help a construction project and a company? There is a list of things that are put in risk when there are errors in construction. First of all, repairing things cost money, and in many cases they can even derail a project's budget completely by eliminating any profit margins. It goes without saying that if things are not right, we also risk health and safety on site, while at the same time repeating the same mistakes all over again can bring the workforce to poor morale. Defects and errors can also lead to long legal battles between the stakeholders of a project. They can even lead to fines, massive delays, and ultimately very bad reputation for companies. Reputation in construction is possibly the single most important factor to a company's success in the industry. So, to put it simply, quality management in construction is a tidy way of formalizing how we offer our services as a company. It is the way we manage our resources. It is the way we sort out any issues. It is the way we win new projects, especially if we even have ISO 9001 certification. It is how we plan and design our projects. It is how we manage the risk. It is how we select and manage our suppliers and subcontractors. It is the way we hand over our projects to our clients. It is the way we communicate with our clients. It is how we record and report what is happening on our sites. It is the way of avoiding historical mistakes and learn from the past. And it is the way we improve as a business. The sad reality, though, is that things have gone wrong in the past, and when they had gone terribly wrong, they even cost hundreds of human lives. So the important thing is to understand that whenever things go wrong, no matter the scale of the risk, we need to record the issue, we need to analyze it, and we need to make sure it won't happen again. That is continuous improvement. And the tool for doing such a thing is the non-conformity report or non-conformance report, which is basically a very simple form that describes what happened, what is the deviation or the non-conformity, what is the root cause of this non-conformity, how we may fix the problem and put it right, and, after all, what measures have we put in place in order to make sure it won't happen again. NCRs are actually a good thing, and they help us analyze what went wrong so that we won't repeat it again. However, repeating the same NCRs all over again shows that either there is no real corrective action applied, or that the real root cause was never identified properly. One of the most remarkable cases of construction errors that literally cost hundreds of lives happened in 1981 in Kansas City with the infamous Hyatt Regency Hotel walkway collapse. This was literally the worst structural collapse in the US before 9/11, and the main root cause of this collapse, that killed 114 people, was basically the drawings that had been prepared by the designer and were only preliminary, but they were actually interpreted by the contractor as the final for construction drawings. Another famous case where things had gone terribly wrong was the Deep Horizon BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. 11 people killed in 2010 in what is now considered the largest accidental marine oil spill in the history. The root cause for that accident was non-compliant cement at the bottom of the borehole that did not finally create a proper seal, leading to oil and gas leakages through the pipe and onto the surface consequently. Finally, in 1995, in Seoul of South Korea, the largest accidental structural collapse in human history killed 502 people. The root cause of the collapse of the Sambong store was a very complex one, as there were multiple causes for this tragic collapse. The design of the building showed 800mm columns with 16 bars, but the contractor had actually only built 600mm wide columns with just 8 bars. Moreover, defective and non-compliant concrete was also discovered to have contributed to the collapse. So, let's learn a lesson and make sure this won't happen again. Thank you.